Hey YouTube, this is Scarecrow Kaiser. This will be a deck profile on my Diablo deck, my Diablo Stride. So, opening remarks. The deck is pretty cool. It's definitely better than it used to be. A lot better actually. They gave the deck a lot of things that it needed that it was missing before. It's a pretty cool deck. It runs very well. It can be very explosive. Yeah. So to get into it, I'll start with the threes. We got four Vortimir Diablo. I like this card. It's very cool. The GB2 is a little bit slow to get to, but once you have it active, it's a very, very nice effect. Not only the fact that it's calling out cards, but it's powering them up. It's a very, very nice effect. Even his on-ride is pretty cool. The on-ride kind of makes up for the fact that he's a GB2, so I like him. The only downside to him is if you can't stride, this card is very unintimidating. But as long as you can stride, it's a very good card. And then our second grade 3, obviously, is 4 Blaster Dark Diablo. We already know how good this card is. It's very threatening, even when you're don't have it out on the field. Your opponent has to worry that you have it in your hand, because if they leave their field unset to be without at least 3 rear guards, and then you surprise them by riding this and then striding into Diablo, you kill them. So yeah, very good card. With the 3s out of the way, getting to the grade 2s, we have 3 Maka. She's still a very good card. I mean, she has a counterblast 1 to get a +1, and it deck thins and it gets you whatever grade 1 you want. She's a toolbox. She can even possibly create another attack for your turn. Very good. But I definitely don't want to play 4. The counterblast, there's a lot of things about her that would be going way too far. I like 3 just so I can try and get her, especially if after I blast her dark and not Vortimir. I need something to recruit cards, and she helps with that. And then I have 3 Dark Saga Painter. I am so happy they made this card. This card is very, very helpful. His GB2 honestly kind of sucks. I almost never even use it. But the fact that while he's still part of the deck, he's a grade 1, that is so good. Not just for the fact that you can recruit a grade 2 versus a grade 1 to make like full columns and stuff, just that I can like make my deck more balanced in terms between my ratio of grade 1s and 2s, and still have the option to recruit him. I love that they gave us this card. It helps so much. And speaking of new, very good cards, we have 4 Hole here. I think that's how you say his name. This card is freaking sweet. Whenever you play grade 1, if you have a Diablo Vanguard, him and the Vanguard get +3, which is very cool since it can accumulate. The more you call, the more it builds up. And then if the card that was played was the other Chain Dance, then you get to Countercharge and Soul Charge, which is both very good. This deck counterblasts a lot, and it soul blasts a lot, so that's free resources, and he makes himself and the Vanguard power up really big. Like, if you can throw down 2 of these and call like a grade 1, like, there's so much power being distributed. This card is great. For the grade 1 lineup, we have 4 Karma Collector, our unflipping perfect guard. This deck counterblasts a lot, so you really do need the unflip damage. The Legend deck perfect guard that lets you discard draw, you don't need that. That effect is almost pointless and kind of hurts you in the long run, because this deck can deck out sometimes if you're not careful. So then we have 3 of our other chain. Cohedan, I think is how you say his name. I'd like to play 4 of him. I just can't find the room, but he's a very good card. When retired, other than his relationship with his partner, when he's retired, you get to give somebody, you give the Vanguard +5. If that Vanguard then hits, you can call grade 1, and if you have the grade 2 out, then you also get that grade 1 +5. It's very cool, just that you're already using him because of the relationship with the grade 2, and then you can retire him for things, give +5 and on hit skills when your opponent wouldn't want to have a hit, when I was wanting to block. Now you're making them want to block, and just very good. Then we got 2 Karen or Sharon, whatever you say the thing's name is. Counts as 2 retires. Very good. Like to play 3. Don't have room. Can always recruit it. So yeah, that's why we have 2 of them. Then we have 3 of our stride fodder. The card lets you just stride right away, even though it's just a grade 1. Yeah, I only play 3 of it versus 4 like most stride decks, because there is Blaster Dark skill, which lets you stride with anything as long as you're at GB2. It's run perfectly fine so far. I don't feel the need to play a 4th one, so it gives me more room for other things. Then we have 2 Darkheart Trumpeter. The reason I like to play I could see an argument to not play this card anymore, but I still do, because if you don't ride Vortimir, as I said with Maka, you have trouble recruiting resources, so this card helps you do that. And even when you have rode Vortimir, you don't want to necessarily use this card too many times, but you can just pull this card out with Vortimir and things like that, and just, or Diablo, or Spectral Diablo, and just recruit more cards. So I run 2, just in case I had to ride or damage 1, so I can have at least the 1 I want. I still like him. And for my last grade 1, I chose to play 1 Claudus. Now, I don't run the card he teams up with. However, Claudus by himself is a 9, so I run him because he makes good numbers. With this deck being able to recruit so many grade 1s, sometimes you'll have to make a column out of 2 grade 1s. And this guy being a 9, teamed up with another 7k, that's a 16 column, so that's why I run him, just because I can make real columns with other grade 1s using him. And for my starter, I run David. I tried out several starters. The full bow, whatever his name is, from the legend deck is pretty cool. He gets you stride fodder, and he moves to the soul. So he's good. I wouldn't say he's bad, especially since he's one of the few stars that actually can move to the soul. The other full bow, the Diablo one, that when you retire, if you have a Blaster Vanguard, you get to call a Blaster Dark from your deck. That card's kind of cool. It could help give more attacks and stuff. If you're not running anything other than the Blaster Dark Diablo, it's just putting a grade 3 out. You could run the Blaster Dark Spirit and recruit it and pop a card. That's pretty cool, but you can only use the full bow if you have a Blaster Vanguard and recruiting the Blaster Dark. I've heard some people talk about, or I heard someone, actually just one person, who says they like to play it to use in combination with Phantom Blaster Diablo, and they're like, and then I make it so the Blaster Dark comes out, kills their card, and they don't have enough to retire. And I'm pretty sure it doesn't work like that. I'm pretty sure when you pay the cost for Diablo, you have to resolve the whole effect, which is them retiring then and there before you even have a chance to use the Blaster Dark Spirit. So I'm 95% sure that play isn't like actually legit. So If I'm wrong, someone point me out. But I'm like 95% sure you can't do that. Because you'd have to finish resolving Diablo before you could use Luster Dark, and yeah, that would be pointless at that point. But it's an okay thing if you want to do it, because it still kills something for the Counterblast 1 and puts a guy out. But, so, getting straight to the point, over the several options, I've just gone with David. He's a 5K, and he counts as 2 retires, and he works pretty fine, especially since I don't have as much room for more Karns, so. For my trigger lineup, I am doing nine crits for now. Draw triggers, the Howl, they're pretty dandy. They're pretty cool. They can move the soul, give somebody +3, and the draw power is cool. But this deck recruits stuff so easily, and deck thins itself a lot, that I didn't want more draw power because I don't want to deck out. If these cards could actually recruit grade 1 or less, I not only would I play like 1 or 2 Howls just to have him as a resource and an option to pull out, I'd play the stand trigger because it counts as 2 retires and shuffles back. I would love to play those cards, but this deck only calls grade 1s, so I can't really do that. And when it comes to like other things like grade 4s you'll be getting to later, you'll be adding cards from your deck, sort of like drawing them, and you don't really want to pick up a draw, you only want to check a draw. So picking up or drawing draws is kind of pointless. At least these are 10 shields, and the extra push that the 12 crits give you go a lot. Like even if they're only at 2 and you force them to not block Diablo, and he's already got a crit, so that's sending them from 2 to 4. If you drive check double crit, they're dead. And Spectral Diablo, lots of crits can also be deadly. So moving on to the last part, our grade 4 lineup. So I run 1 Aurigizer and 1 Doomed. The reason I just play the 1 and him is this card, I would prefer to use it. It's very, very, very good, but the Soul Blast is ultimately why I don't run it. And this guy, so my first stride is actually Doomed, and then I flip the Aurigizer as the cost, retire 3 guys. Almost always I end up killing 2. I very rarely only kill 1. But so it gives me a way to get the GB2 to set it for like Blast or Dark really quick, and it lets me tear up my opponent's field, as well as sometimes I'm trading cards I don't even want and actually pick up cards I do want. So that's why I'm running him. He's run pretty good. I like it. Next, I have my 4 Phantom Blaster Diablo. We already know why this card's good. This card is very, very infamous. Not really much more to say on it. We already understand this card. And last here is 2 Spectral Diablos. I like this guy a lot. He's very solid. His cost and everything, I think it's all perfectly fair for what he does. A drive check 3 and then a drive check 1. As well as you sacrifice a guy and then you get a guy. Sometimes you get to sacrifice something you don't want, or something you want to sacrifice, like the chain guy, and then you can go grab like Trumpeter or something. So I really like it. Very good. Yeah. Obviously, things will be changing in the next like month or so when Fire Collection comes out, and this deck goes up to 16 spots. But I like this deck. It's pretty cool, pretty fun, something new. Yeah. So thank you all for watching.